Finance Committee meeting for September 9, 2024. Councilor Walton? Here. Alamon's out. Smith?
Here.
Hardin? Here.
All right.
Got three.
We have a quorum. Okay. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading and approve the minutes from the August 19th meeting?
Second.
Motion from Mr. Waltney, second from Mr. Hardin. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those are approved. Okay. We're just gonna start at the top and go down. 2006-23, request for consideration of city manager, Mayor Patrick McCluskey. President Wyatt, do you have anything you'd like to?
Yeah, just one thing. I mean, obviously the referendum is coming up in 2 weeks from tomorrow. One of the questions that's come up that I wanted to just sort of throw something out with everybody is about if this passes, the hiring of a city manager. Mayor McCluskey and I and Nick as well have been talking with some of the city managers in the area. And one of the things that we have discussed is rather than hiring a permanent one immediately, that we look into the idea of hiring a interim city manager, which would be someone with some past experience as a city manager, probably a retired city manager or county manager. That we have some of those around, and that if we could do that, that could bridge the gap with that person could help get everything set up and could help the new council with the hiring process, and also be someone that can be there on day one of the new term and serve in that executive role, so that person's not missing for months if the new council is hiring. Doing that could provide the city with a better pool of candidates, because they know that they're coming on more at the beginning of a term than at the end of a term. And so we're not there yet. Obviously, we don't need to do anything necessarily before the referendum because there's nothing to do before the referendum. But I did want to put that out there. That's been part of some discussions that I've had with the community in the past few weeks. And like I said, part of our discussions with some existing city managers as to something that might be beneficial in our situation. So I want to put that out there just to give everyone something to think about, and we'll see what happens with the referendum and then decide how to move forward. But I do think if the referendum passes, that's something that we should consider.
And there is a public information.
There's a public information session on Wednesday at 5:30 in Chambers.
Okay. This Wednesday.
This Wednesday, the 11th.
The 11th. Okay. All right. So we will leave this on the agenda and carry that over without objection. Okay. 020824 bid date set for September 9th, 2024 for Kenilworth Drive stormwater improvements. We just had that bid opening at 4:31 in here. We received 4 bids from 4 folks, and there's a pretty wide range of prices or bids. So Kale and Bo are going to look through those tomorrow and do a little bit more research on that, and we probably will have this as part of our budget discussions, because this is a project that is going to be included in the new fiscal year budget. So once they have a chance to look through those bids and see which one seems to be the best, then we'll factor that into our budget discussion so that we can get a good number for that project in the budget. Is that about sum it up? Okay. All right, so we will carry that one over for more information and to be included in our budget discussions. All right, 060824, our microtransit presentation from Gus Hughes Community Foundation, Charlotte Shaw Transit Authority. This we carried over on August 19th, 2024, and I'm not sure.
I think we're just moving this to budget hearings.
Okay.
And it's going to be part of those. So I don't think we need to maintain the item here.
All right, so should we just go?
Part of the budget discussion.
Okay, should we just go ahead and make a motion to send that to budget and get it off the agenda? Okay.
So moved.
All right. Motion for Mr. Hardin to put that into the budget discussions. Second for Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's 3-0, and we'll move that to budget. Okay. And then 070824 is a request to review the contract for ambulance service. We heard from Chief Broadhead in our previous meeting, and we had talked to some different companies. We have a 180-day out with our contract with our current provider. And Chief Broadhead, would you like to?
I would like to make the request that, we know that the contract and the choice we're gonna make will go into budget hearings for you guys, but in order for us to start that 180-day clock, I would need a motion carried out to council for us to issue that to them. So I would make that request that if we would be willing to send this out to start the 180-day out clause, and then we will, in that packet I gave you guys, there were like 9 different options total between 3 different companies, all of which were better service than where we're looking right now with more service. So I feel confident that we're gonna make a change. I would like to start the 6-month clock.
I'll make a motion to send those to the current provider, cancellation.
Okay.
And then they notice.
All right,
And then are we gonna send this item to budget as well?
yes,
For that
yes,
resolution?
and yes, that can be part of it. Was that part of your motion to send it to budget
It
discussion?
certainly was.
All right, motion from Mr. Harden, second from Mr. Waltney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 3-0, to start that 180-day, cancellation clock and send that to budget hearings.
The mayor would issue a termination letter.
Okay, awesome. All right, new business, 210824, request to surplus filing and plan cabinets in the Department of Engineering and Zoning from Mr. Smith. This is pretty straightforward.
It is, we have some really large filing cabinets with nothing in them, so we wanna move them out.
Okay, so there's 2 large cabinets and 2 smaller cabinets.
That's right, the
correct?
large cabinets are larger than the cabinets that are in here.
Okay.
And the other,
Motion to approve surplus.
Okay, motion from Mr. Waltney, second from Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, that those items will be surplused. All right. 220824, request for consideration of creating a Homewood beautification plan from our Homewood beautification board. And I am going to let, Nick talk about that, because he is the liaison to the beautification board, and I know we have some members here as well. So y'all
Yes,
take
thank you.
it away.
So the beautification board has been working for the past 18 months or so approximately. Well, the discussions occurred longer than that, but that past 18 months, they've gotten really specific on a work plan to consider a plan for the beautification of our city. So Mary Michael Kelly, who's the incoming chair of the beautification board as of October 1st, will provide a presentation, and also other members of the committee are here as well. So I'll let Mary Michael take it from there.
Okay, hello, I am Mary Michael Kelly, and we put a couple slides up there for you guys just to give you a little bit of an idea, but we wanted to make you guys aware of what we've been working on over the last, I would say, year, and actually a lot longer than that. You can go to the next slide whenever. We have really worked hard over the last 6 months soliciting some proposals from some professional design firms to consider and a multi-year, a long-term, sustainability focused, phased in beautification plan for the city that really works to focus on some of the things that we know our residents really hold dear, like green space, walkability, recreation, all of that. Sure. You can get the next slide. And then I am fairly new to the board, so I'm gonna let Nancy kind of give y'all a little bit more of the history and the background on this.
Well, as Nick said, we started, when our inception, I think was 2017, Jennifer, you were our liaison.
Yeah, it was my first term.
Yeah.
17 sounds about right.
Yeah, but once we got kind of our heads on straight
Yeah.
and started our projects, after a couple of years in, we realized this was kind of hit and miss, and that we really needed a long-term plan to have some kind of consistency and sustainability with what we were doing. Not to mention, we were asking so much of Berkeley's staff. Oh, let's hang baskets over here. Oh, let's go over here and do this. So we started back then reviewing with other cities what they had done. Greenville, South Carolina, Fairhope, I think
Athens.
Auburn, where?
Athens, Alabama.
Athens, yes. Anyway, a number of cities, they all have long-term beautification plans. It's like a map that they follow. You don't have to do it every year, whatever we can afford. But it gives us, and we've been in communication with Berkeley and the mayor along the way. COVID came in, that kind of tracked us and fragmented lots of things. So we spent the rest of our time from 22 back in place to kind of nail down all the things that we'd started and make those consistent and finish up on the street sign project, which had been started before COVID. So all of that to say, then we started in 22 looking again at this plan to try to get something in place that we could begin to work from and consistently, no matter who's on the board going forward. It's just a
Have a
long-term
map.
vision that makes Homewood consistent, not one look here and one look there. That's kind of the thing that we're asking you to do, so.
And you can go to the next slide.
Yes, so these are the firms that we contacted probably 5-ish months ago. They were very interested. The middle one, Rent to Urban Design, was very interested, so they didn't have it in their capacity at this time to do it. So we did meet about a month ago with GMC and with Kelly Landscape, and they did really lay out, you know, a sample plan that we really liked from both of them. They've both done different projects throughout Homewood, so it was kind of cool to see the history of it. I'm fairly new to the board. I've been there probably a little over a year, so it was kind of cool to see all the different projects that they've already worked on and kind of their plans for the future.
So you can go to the next slide. So, oh, sorry, Sam. This
That's
is you.
all right.
No, you go. You're better at this.
Well, the budget item that we came up with was $35,000 to, for this plan. I think that was already presented to the board, or the council. And then, of course, we got our $10,000 operating budget in there, so it'd be a $45,000 budget. I'm not sure if the beautification plan goes into, under the board or just into the general fund.
And just to give you all an idea, we've got about a net of about 8,000 remaining from this year that we were really trying to intentionally kind of
Hold that.
yes.
Commit to do.
But let me,
Yes,
I'm gonna press pause right there, because I know in the last couple of years, we did, previous to COVID, we would roll people's,
Right.
remaining funds into their next year's budget.
We
and
know you
then
don't do that.
We stopped doing that, so, that, my question would be,
Is there a way?
is there a way to do that? I'm looking, Melanie? I'm not sure. Okay.
I can check and find out.
Alex, because you know, previous to COVID, we did roll people's remaining funds into their next year's budget, but then we
did.
stopped doing
We
that.
stopped doing it for a reason,
Okay.
and I would rather talk to the accountants to make sure that I'm saying it right before I say why, because
Yeah.
it's just not mine.
Right, no, that's not, yeah,
area.
yes.
But there was, it wasn't random, there was a reason for doing that, and it was causing some sort of problem to do it that way.
Do we just need to change the request to 53,000? Is that what you're saying? You need the extra 8 to go on top of the 45?
Right, so if there wasn't a way to, accounting wise, roll that money forward,
That would be
might
an
just
ideal
increase
scenario.
of the-
Yes.
an increase of the budget request.
Can I ask
Okay.
a question?
Yes.
Have you gotten proposed pricing from Kelly and GMC?
So, next slide.
Okay.
Here we go. So, what we have is, Kelly, you know, a lot of their proposals, they had, obviously, these are two incredible firms, right? They've done a lot, both of them have done a lot with our city over the years. The focuses, you know, are a lot of the greenways, things like that, but you can, I mean, you know how to read, I'm not gonna read it for you. But, you know, that lump sum was around 33.5 plus some expenses that obviously would be incurred over the course of just, you know, changes occurring and things like that. If you go to the next slide, and also I have these linked, I'm happy to send them to you all if you'd like to see the actual proposals. Same with GMC, we put in 35 because that was the top. Theirs was that right at 35. Of course, we know that things can change, things can, you know, obviously happen to make those costs change at any point. However, we felt pretty confident knowing that we do tend to be pretty fiscally responsible with the funds that were given, that if we were to be able to have that 35 and then have a little bit of a little bit to work with, that we could handle that. The overall, both proposals, obviously were really strong. It's my understanding that that's not up to us to make that determination, that's up to people above our pay grade. Right?
And I will say, I will.
The only one with the authority to do that.
And I will
Right.
say, let me also ask a legal question to Mike. If they are soliciting proposals, is that, since they're a board and not like, the council, is that anything they would have to do formally in terms of doing a request for proposals or doing a bid opening? Okay.
We did actually check in with that
Okay,
beforehand,
okay.
and because that was my first thing I said was we have to put out an RFP, but no.
Okay.
Anyway, so that was great to know. So yes, but we did want to try, obviously, we tried to go to 3, but 2, these are 2 very strong proposals, honestly. So, that was why we kind of went with 35, just top of the estimates, and they were both so very similar in cost and in scope, to be honest. Next slide. I think that oh yeah. So here's really where we've got our next step. We just wanted to kind of, bring you all into it. We were definitely at that point where we wanted to start having that larger conversation about how we might be able to move forward with this. We think we have some really, we do have a really strong board right now, and there's a lot of interest in creating something for the city that can be sustained long beyond us. So we really think, we're excited about it. We would like to have obviously some public comments, obviously have some meetings on it as we move forward. But this would be multi-year staged rollout with, Public Works and Berkeley's direct involvement in that process to ensure that we are doing it as fiscally responsibly as possible, and also as sustainable as possible, really focusing on sustainability.
And also with some of the other boards, like the environment.
Right, Environmental Commission. And
We met with them as well.
And I know the Preservation Commission has wanted to talk to y'all about
Yes.
maybe doing some stuff too, especially for the Centennial, but that's
Oh, yeah.
a different discussion for different things. Yes.
I think this is, just from my commentary, I think this is great. This is something Homewood needs to kind of take us to the next level, because I'm from South Alabama, and Fairhope and Foley have always just really blown it out of the water with their landscaping in their cities. And I'm glad y'all met with Berkeley, because that's important too, because we've got funding already allocated for the gateways, so we wouldn't want to, duplicate. So that if he's got the gateways going with somebody, that way he can keep you on the loop. I did want to ask, since y'all got 3 proposals, I know Tony really well, Renza, and he said he probably didn't get it because he's the owner of the company, but he did say they're interested in
Oh, well, then I'll reach
quoting.
back out.
And I was going to ask too, I've got 2 more landscape architects that actually live here in Homewood, because I was just asking if they got the proposals, and they said they didn't, but it was Dick's Height.
Okay.
Dick's Height, or High Note?
Dick's Height.
Dick's Height.
They've got an office here on 22nd Street.
And then also Laura Von McNair, they both were.
If
super
you have their
engaged.
contact information, I will give you my email
Okay.
address, and then,
'Cause
yes, absolutely.
Laura Von, he's very engaged. I think he's on one of the boards
He's
now.
on the Historic Preservation
Yeah.
Commission.
And
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
have
perfect.
done-
I asked him, I was like, why didn't you submit a proposal? And he was like, I didn't know about it, so.
Well, remember they did, back in the last term before COVID, we had talked to Laura Baum and McNair about doing City Hall Plaza.
Yeah.
Before we had closed the plaza off, which we have, and it's so great now, but, they had a really fabulous proposal for that we just, the
Yeah.
COVID happened, we just weren't able to go forward with it.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So-
I think I think the more the merrier, honestly, for something like this.
I bet Eric McNair's got that.
It's not too bad.
I think I have a question around, I think, and just asking for who gets to choose the vendor? Because,
I think-
and I think that there has to be a question as to if we're gonna go through our normal process of a bidding process.
It sounds like they don't have to do that.
It's professional.
Here.
Yeah, I don't think you do for professional services.
Yeah, they don't have to, but this is what I would suggest, given the fact that we've got additional groups that might be interested, is that we send this to budget so that we can include the money for it in the budget.
And they decide.
No, the council has to decide who it is,
Yeah, that's
who we
what
use.
I
That's what,
think.
and I think at that point, Carlos's point is well taken,
Yeah.
that we ought to put the, sort of, not.
Support it, but I think that has to go through a formal process.
Correct, put it through a
Yeah,
more
that's
formal.
why I asked that question.
Yeah, and let's put it through a more formal process at that point, so that the council can make a decision, but take the work that y'all have already done.
And go ahead and talk about it
in
in budget.
particular for budget, so that we are putting the money in the budget to handle that. And then we'll go through the process just to make sure we're checking all the boxes that we need to check.
Right.
And then get to a point where we're ready to retain someone and we'll already have the money in the budget because of the work that they've done. So that would be my suggestion moving
Okay.
forward.
Can I just kind of follow up on what Alex is saying? Because I think that's great, because you totally nailed it. The point is that council understands what this line item is about.
Right.
More so than knowing who the vendor is by the time, it comes to budget hearings. Because we've spoke with at least one consultant who said, even if they launch the project in January, that it could be completed by the end of the fiscal year when it comes to the plan itself, right? Because implementation is gonna be long-term, but this plan shouldn't require like engineering and design or anything like that with some of these other, other type projects with these consultants. This is a, community engagement, stakeholder input collection, working with staff, and then looking at best practices and coming up with a plan to then implement. That's it.
Yeah, all right, so what I would then need is a motion from the committee to send this item to our budget hearing so that we can discuss the money aspect of it, and then we can continue to work with y'all about the other parts of it. But
I'd
that
like
would
to
be-
make that motion.
Okay. Motion from Mr. Allen, second from Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor of sending this to budget, please say aye. Aye, that is now 5-0, look at us. Oh, 4, that's right, Walter's not here.
And I would
Sorry.
just like to thank the board for all
Yeah.
the work
Yeah.
that's done.
No, this is great.
Showing
I
up
want to
today.
tell y'all how much we appreciate this.
Yeah.
This is great.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all so very much. Y'all do not have to stay for the rest. You are released. Okay, 230824, request for consideration of sponsorship of the Birmingham Bowl, Mark Meadows, myself. I hate to present for myself because I'm the one who put this on the agenda. Do you have that piece of paper? I can pull it up. Oh, there we go, thank you. This is the same thing that we've done, for the last 4 years, I think. We just have an advertisement for the city of Homewood in the sponsor guide that goes out to all of the people who are in attendance for the Birmingham Bowl. And it just has our city logo, our website, all the information, and then of course they can come to our website, find hotels, et cetera, et cetera. It is the same price as it's been for the last 4 years, so it's not gonna, it is $1,188, and we do get, 2 chairback seats and a parking pass that come along with that, for the game. And this would come out of the advertising, line item, which.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion from Mr. Gwaltney, second from Mr. Harden. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 4-0. That passes, and we are adjourned for finance.
Public Safety Committee meeting for September 9, 2024. Counselor Gwaltney.
Here.
Wolferton's out. Counselor Jones out. Nelms.
Present.
Harden.
Here.
You got 3.
All right, so we got 3. Thank y'all for being here. This time I'll entertain a motion to dispense of the reading and approve the minutes from the Public Safety Committee meeting from August 19th.
Second.
So motion by Counselor Nelms, second by Counselor Harden. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those nay. 3-0, the ayes have it. No items under old business, new business, 240824, request for consideration of a crosswalk at Palmetto and Broadway. Counselor Sims.
Yes, so this item stems from just some discussion around back to school. Received some complaints from residents, or concerns rather, about pedestrian safety at arrival and dismissal each day. So that's resulted in doing some restriping through traffic engineering of curbs where there's no parking so that it avoids blind spots right up next to crosswalks. Also, there's a request in to do some restriping at crosswalks in the area, but upon looking at the surrounding area immediately near Edgewood, it was observed that this crossing does not have a crosswalk. So this is purely a consideration for the sake of school safety, student safety, all pedestrians, to place a crosswalk, because it's another visual to help encourage vehicular traffic to stop prior to the stop sign versus going on beyond the stop sign and being in the lane, or, you know, even with a stop sign.
Are you talking about just putting on the ground, or are you talking about also putting up?
Just
something along those.
This request is only just consideration of like a ladder style crosswalk as seen in other areas. Again, this is not a crossing across Broadway. This is parallel to Broadway.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Crossing Palmetto.
No, it's not a mid-block crossing.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a mid-block crossing at Shades
Yeah.
that has
You're talking about going across Palmetto?
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
just connecting right there.
I thought there was one there at one point, but I don't see it on the street. Alright, this seems like a pretty common sense,
Yeah. I'll make a motion that we need to send this out to Berkeley.
yeah, well, then it'll be traffic.
Traffic, yeah.
So we're just approving the crosswalk, it'll be an ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve the crosswalk at Palmetto, at Broadway.
Second.
Alright, so we have a motion by Counselor Harden, second by Counselor Nelms. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, 3-0.
I'm here, so for.
25, oh, and,
Yeah.
Mr. Wolverton has arrived.
Thank you.
Yep, and, did you vote on that?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, 4-0. Sorry, Mr. Segrist.
No problem.
250824, request for consideration of a parking lot closure for use for a fundraiser. The applicants for this item have changed their location, and they have requested that we drop this item.
I'll make a motion to drop.
Motion to drop by Counselor Harden,
Second.
second by Counselor Nelms. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it, 4-0. And with that, public safety is adjourned.
Rocking and rolling.
Business.
Hold on, what? You will be here.
You ready?
Yep.
Public Works Committee meeting for September 9th, 2024. Counselor Wolverton.
Here.
Gear.
Here.
Sims.
Here.
Nelms.
Here.
Harden.
Here.
All here.
All right. Can I have a motion to dispense the reading and approval of minutes from August 19th,
So
2024?
So moved.
So moved by Counselor Gear, second by Counselor Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. All right, no old business, going to new business, 260824, request for permission to install parking pad in the right of way adjacent to 11 Ventura Avenue. Matt Stevens and Wyatt Pugh.
Yes, sir. Hey, y'all. I'm Matt Stevens. Oh, great. I'm glad you have this. I live over in Hollywood, and I'm re-landscaping my yard, and I have a pre-existing parking pad that sits there. I have pictures. You guys can, if you want to, pictures of how it looks in person now.
I'll take that with Brian. He can do that on my own.
Thank you. But, so right here, there's already 2 parking spots. They're legacy spots left over from when somebody 5 owners ago, 30 years ago, added to the back of the house. And so I'm not asking to carve in and create a brand new curb, you know, cut into the city's curb. It's already kind of there, and you can see from the pictures that I just set out. And what I want to do is just improve it and make it asphalt to blend in with the street that's already there. So Another thing too is I always park right here anyway because my neighbors tend to park on the street right there. When two people park on the street outside the curb onto the actual street, you can't even really drive through there.
It is very busy there.
And so I'm wanting to just put a nice parking pad right there. So I don't know if the picture's not.
I'm working
He's doing them right now.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right.
So anyway, I'm here seeking permission to just get that done and do that if that's okay.
So why, just to understand, it's already there.
Why is it here? Yeah, Brian, when you go to the second page of this, yeah, so what's there now is sort of the remnants of an old curb cut,
Mhm.
like that would go into where a driveway would go. And you can see it's just a small, sort of a sliver. And then Brian, go back to the first page.
So we're making it deeper.
And so what he proposes to do is cut it in, make it a little larger, and go all the way up close to the sidewalk there. So it's a project, it's not just a.
Yeah, that's the way it looks now.
So you've got a curb between two driveways, and this is kind of.
Yeah, it's sort of like an old curb cut for a driveway. that
Yeah, I was
used to be
about to
there.
say, an old driveway.
Two houses
Yeah.
at one point.
Yeah. And so he wants to kind of carve that out and make a real parking pad in the driveway.
And there's enough width there to not sit on the sidewalk?
Here,
Yes, there is. I mean, there's plenty of room to sit on there. A car could sit on there and not get on the sidewalk at all.
From
Counselor
That's a
Sims?
very busy thoroughfare, I mean, that's right off of, Ventura and 31, going up to Hollywood Boulevard, it is a very busy corner.
And you've got a driveway on Ventura that you pull up a certain driveway.
Yes, sir. I have a regular parking place. I have so I have a back house. You can see the back house.
Yeah.
One of my teenagers parks there, and I have another teenager that basically parks where I'm proposing to improve that spot. So.
Hey, Brian, can you go to,
Terry and JB did the work on that.
Brian, are you able to
Okay.
go to that picture?
I remember that.
You do?
No, dude.
Yeah. I used to live around the corner.
So just, hey Wyatt, so that I understand this, yeah, that one, I think. Oh, real small.
That one?
Yes. So is it the full length there from the curb cut basically up to where the tree is?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So it'd be enough for a couple vehicles at
Ideally,
that
we're
point.
trying to make it for two vehicles to park there. I
Gotcha.
think I'm probably gonna have to expand it or lengthen it just a little bit, not widen it, but just lengthen it. Well, I guess I would widen it some.
Yeah. But that little middle bulb out would
That would be
go
knocked
away.
out.
Yeah, okay.
Just for clarification purposes too, all of this is in the right of way because the right of way extends all the way until the edge of the sidewalk? Is
to the
that-
back of the sidewalk.
The back of the
Because
sidewalk.
the sidewalk is the city's.
And what is the current width of the sidewalk?
I don't know, that sidewalk there is probably four.
It's definitely not
Yeah.
five. It's
Yeah.
definitely-
No, it's the old
It's the
version.
It's the old.
Well, I just
yeah.
wondered about if we have to do maintenance on the sidewalk, if that cues, for it to be widened and if we're leaving ourselves enough space for those future improvements.
Yeah, that's a good point. So typically, whenever you chop out a section of sidewalk and put it back, we ask that you go from a whatever the reasonable stopping point is on this end to that end and make it 5 feet.
Like,
So I
It's
don't know.
5-foot wide
The man's
sidewalk.
did.
You would have to do the whole thing from.
Yeah,
I mean, from basically Ventura to Bonita.
Well, yeah, from a reasonable, point to a reasonable point. In other words, we couldn't say, you gotta go all the way up. But, the section you're doing plus whatever the reasonable stopping points are, so, we would have to take a look at that.
Can you work with him?
Yes.
Okay.
You'd
On
be
that.
prepared to do that?
Yep.
Okay. Resolution would require it to be, plan approved by the city. We work with you on the plans, make sure you
Okay.
do it right.
So are we saying that it would include a sidewalk?
Yes.
So is there a motion we need to make?
You're gonna permit him to work in the right of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do an indemnification agreement.
Well, are we doing that before we see the plan, or we're just saying that we'll?
You'll approve the plan.
Okay, all right, I'll make a motion to approve, pending, indemnification agreement that's signed by the resident and approval by Riot.
Does that include the improvement to the sidewalk that we're?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Is that part of your motion?
yes.
Okay. All right.
Reasonable sidewalk.
All right, motion by Counselor, Harden, second by Counselor Nelms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. All right, next item. So that'll go to full council
Thank y'all.
next.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll explain.
Okay.
Yeah.
270824, request permission to replace fence in the right of way at 118 Edgewood Boulevard. Leslie Evans and Cale Smith.
Yeah, so this is a survey of Leslie's house on the corner of Palmetto and Edgewood, and the existing fence is the yellow highlight. And they had to remove some panels for maintenance, and they're doing a construction project in the rear yard. And so they were asking about putting the fence up. Brian, if you would go to the street view. Whoa, that's not it. Yeah, they have these existing stone columns that are still standing, but they just wanted to replace this fence.
Yeah, it's just this area here,
Or
Yeah.
just the back part.
just this,
Sweetheart,
like.
do you want it replaced?
Yes, that's why she's here. I'm just kidding.
It always helps to bring a cute
She has
champagne
gymnastics is actually why she's here, but I figured it didn't hurt.
Never hurts.
So yeah, just this area is down right here.
Okay.
In between these columns, so we just wanted to be able to put it back.
And is it, what's the reason for the variance? Is it in the right of way?
It is.
It is in the right of way, okay.
Right, so
So-
they're gonna need permission from you to leave it in the right of way.
Sure.
And then whatever area crosses over onto their property, they're gonna need a variance for it.
Okay.
Because what?
Why do we need a variance?
Because this is considered a side yard. and it's
Cause it's a corner
adjacent to
lot.
the right of way.
Got it.
And so there's supposed to be a 9-foot setback for a fence.
And the goal, Leslie, is to keep those columns, is that the goal?
They're still there.
They're still there.
Right.
All the fence is still there except that one portion, and we just wanna be able to put it back. We had to, it came down during construction. And so it'll just be the same. Everything's there except that one portion.
Did permits trigger the
Mhm.
fence? Okay, gotcha.
So we having a right-of-way agreement, is that what?
That's right.
And Cale, from the drawing, it looked like basically from that first, no, sorry, Brian, go back. Yeah, so basically that top part was okay.
It's still
It's
there.
just
It's
where
still
it
there.
comes down.
Right, and.
That's where it comes into the city right away.
Yeah, and so the way Say explained it to me was that he wanted to replace the fence between the columns,
Yes.
all the way down, okay.
The other part's
So
still
you're putting
there,
a
they
whole new
just want to
fence
put
up.
back.
No. She literally said that one section.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So not all of them.
Not all of them, Cale, just that one,
Okay.
just the.
Just at the
I'm
dark
guessing they
part.
probably use that to get stuff in and out from the backyard to do construction, yeah.
All right.
So,
Any other questions?
as long as she's in favor. Tell me your name again, sweetheart.
Edie.
Edie, okay. I'll make a motion, pending indemnification, I guess she's gonna probably have to sign it, she's not.
Yes, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, motion by Counselor Harden, second by Counselor Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Did you vote, Edie?
Edie voted.
Say aye.
All right, Edie.
6-0.
Thanks.
Bye, Leslie.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. They'll vote on it next week in council on Monday night.
with
Okay, thank
that,
you.
we stand adjourned. Counselor Smith.
Here.
Gear.
Here.
Allemon.
Here.
Sims.
Here.
And Andrews.
Here.
All right, woo-hoo, we win the prize, we got all 5. All right, can I get a motion to dispense with the reading and approve the minutes from our last meeting on August the 19th?
Second.
All right, motion from Mr. Allen, second from Ms. Mayor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, 5-0, those are approved. Oh, it was Miss Ann. Oh, no, it was Miss Gear, sorry, Miss Gear. I said Miss, and I just sort of like slurred it over there. Okay, old business 180424 is request to transfer all future sign requests to be handled by the Board of Zoning and Adjustments.
Yes.
Counselors Jones and Almont, we are working on that. We had to reschedule our meeting that we had set for the 9th. Yes, we had to move it to the 20th because of the budget hearing. So we are going to meet with Kale and a representative from the BZA, hopefully get that taken out. So hopefully we'll be taking some action on that sometime soon. So until then, I will carry that over without objection, and we will carry on with that meeting. Okay, now, I've got a new business item. Y'all still?
Just, you don't have to just pause.
Okay, we're just, this is a break. We'll get some Jeopardy music to play.
You know what? I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put mine.
No,
Please.
Did we get to vote on that?
You've never even heard
We did not request that, we requested Jesse.
You haven't heard me sing.
I appreciate your many talents. I appreciate your many
Hey, look.
talents. I do not know the top stars among them.
That makes more sense now.
I'm just saying.
How do you know I'm a pop star? I might sing country. Never.
Well, I will go ahead and fix that right now, Mr. Seeger.
I don't.
No, thank you.
I don't do that. I don't do that.
I'm not a country music girl.
Me either. Not even.
Of course you would.
Oh, yeah, but if he, well, yeah, if he's singing, we might all cry.
It's just my You guys are doo-doo. I hope that's okay. I hope that's okay. I hope that's okay.
Hey, you give me a wine that
Please, God.
Yeah, you did. Very good. I know. That's right.
We're getting there?
That's what happens after
Sugar.
That's big raisins.
Is that raisins? They're huge. I said they're genetically modified.
No, that's all I don't need any
Just
other.
get M&Ms. We don't need chili. So instead of trail mix, just get M&Ms. Bags of M&Ms.
What's going on? You came to this table a lot, and you would always use going to the snack machine to get it right up. And your job is the connection and service. I mean, you understand a lot about.
I miss it, because I knew when he was walking on the hall, and I had a certain walk to.
I mean, like, same gas.
No, Brandon were my
Honestly,
especially when it comes to coffee, yeah, he's coming up to me all the time. Especially when I get out there, he came up to me.
Calm down.
Two things that I also just really been embedded in the minds of the
They did.
folks who are in the company. Are the issue of model that was sanctioned right defined by the state. And Sam Gaston and any other city manager would know.
Salt and pepper. I love it.
Very long time. I'm working here. I feel right at home,
Any
guys.
further discussion? I'm not gonna be here Wednesday.
Right away access. Anybody?
Tomorrow.
I mean, I'm
Still
still
sister and
like,
my nephew is a senior.
Oh, that's so fun.
But I hate to miss Wednesday night. My honey did a little bit, his right is asking for money.
Right, it's like, we were like, I like to
Yes.
have.
And I
Or
think everybody's saying that.
What I said was,
But it's just not being internalized by that group. I don't feel like the importance of that is being, I don't know.
I mean, you know, like the two is,
So,
if someone already has a strong opinion,
it's hard.
anti, they have to absorb the information several times to really enhance.
Hey guys, we're gonna have to kind of go ahead here in a second, because we have a whole other meeting after us.
Some of the new things.
Hey Maddie, I know it wouldn't be quite as effective, but could you just do it on your computer and we can just watch it on there?
We got it.
Okay, got it, okay, over there.
Bro, it is.
Yeah. I think that'll be helpful. And there's a lot of rationale.
All right, so, it's new business item 280824, which is a request for consideration of creating a habitat for monarch butterflies in Homewood. And this comes to us, from Maddie Tarpley, who is a, high school student at Homewood High School and part of the Homewood High School Environmental Club. And look at there, make America wild again. All right, Maddie, take it away.
Well, I would first like to apologize for the long wait. I did not intend for it to be that long.
No worries.
But today I'm here to talk to you about monarch butterflies. So, first the issue, if it'll load. All right, so monarch butterflies, as a surprise to me, are actually an endangered species. Recently they've been put on a list of several species that have come into the qualification of endangerment, and that is because they've decreased by 95% since the 1980s. I grew up hearing stories from my parents about the fields they would see of butterflies in Elmore County and Tuscaloosa and Tallapoosa, all around there, and me and my younger sister, who is not here today, we have rarely seen butterflies outside of textbooks and zoos. So this is because the food that monarchs eat, the milkweed, they take the toxins from that, and those toxins help protect butterflies from their predators. Milkweed's been removed from local ecosystems, and that's through new houses being built, or new developments, or new city landscaping. Those native plants, the milkweed, have been taken out of what is around where the butterflies migrate. So why do monarchs matter? They're not just gorgeous, they are also pollinators. And they help grow native fruits and vegetables, but also the fruits and vegetables that the Alabama economy and the American economy relies on to grow. So they're also an indicator species. I know my family is a big quail hunting family, so monarchs are an amazing indicator for a healthy quail habitat. And surprisingly, quail make up a large percent of the southern economy. A lot of money goes from the quail hunters, whether they are helping pay for landscaping of these quail preserves, or whether they're paying the hotels around where they're hunting. A lot of that money is coming to the city through taxes, or directly to the city through donations. So what can be done? Mainly, what we need to do is plant milkweed in these public spaces. So we can add milkweed to a list of native plants that are, I've already talked to some members of the Homewood Beautification Committee. They're already considering adding native plants when doing these new renovations, and so a big step would be adding milkweed to that list of native plants, so that when that work gets done, we're already moving in that direction, as well as planting milkweed in Homewood city-owned locations. I and several other student volunteers would love to volunteer our time and our money buying the seeds and then planting them around the city of Homewood. That way, each year when these plants grow back, because they only have to be planted once, the butterflies will come through Homewood on their way to migrate down to Mexico. Another one is to facilitate student learning about monarchs, so bringing awareness into the high school and the middle school and the elementary schools, and planting butterfly gardens out near the playgrounds. So where can we plant it? me and my family went around and took pictures of different places in Homewood that we thought would benefit. So we have Overton Park, Woodlawn Park, Central Park, near the Homewood Athletic Complex where there's been a big buildup of flora. And in public spaces, this is actually in my neighborhood where we have an entire triangle in the middle of our neighborhood that we like to keep looking nice. And near the Board of Education, there's large big plots of land that are currently sitting unused that the middle schoolers just walk through. And wouldn't it be lovely if they could see butterflies on their way home?
What about the Greenway?
Yeah, I was about to say the Greenway
Yes,
too.
so along with this is places in, between medians and where the roads are going, having just butterfly plants and gardens where you can see butterflies on your way to work.
And I will say, Maddie, my husband and I were just in Columbus, Mississippi last weekend, and they have a river walk, and somebody has planted a butterfly garden, and I cannot tell you, there were at least 30 monarch butterflies flying all over that garden. But it was all along their trail, and I think
within our
Jennifer,
trail.
yeah, because the Greenway Trail that goes in front of the high school and all the way down to the soccer park, there's a lot of space
And the
there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, that
Well,
might be,
yeah.
you might wanna add that to your list.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
All right, does anybody have any questions for
Well,
Maddie?
what would we do? Would we refer her to work with Berkeley? Would we refer, the idea of them volunteering their time to plant, we would coordinate that through Berkeley?
And I know you have talked to the beautification board, and I think also it probably would be a good idea to talk to the environmental commission as well.
I'm going to be at their next meeting and they're gonna publish my letter in their next.
Well, you did it. No, they already did it.
Oh, goodness.
It's already been published. I meant to tell you. Yes, no, they did. In their latest newsletter, you're the featured person. So that's fantastic. I think probably between working with environmental beautification and Berkeley's department, because they're the ones that do a lot of the maintenance. So what you would want to do for sure is have them know so that they wouldn't cut things down when they're in the process of landscaping, because they do that. They go along and weed eat and those kind of things to make sure that they know, and also to get permission for like where they were going to be.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think there's some really good spaces along the Greenway where you could do some really pretty things.
Especially down by the Green Springs Inn. That
Mhm.
really-
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I
So.
just want to say real quick too, this is like a perfect example of, when we talk about a beautification plan,
Yeah.
like these type habitat creations can be embedded in that as an element, and that's one of the, additional benefits of doing it.
I guess that part of that plan, how do we make sure that some areas are permanently designated, right? So that
Right.
we're
Well, because I will say, Mountain Brook last year was designated as a bee city USA, and it's because they have created these pollinator gardens and things throughout the city to encourage pollinators to come to their city. And I don't know that we could do as much as that, because there's a lot of layers of requirement there. But I think we could make sure that we're, like you said, including those things in that plan, and just in ways that we make
so that there are
conscious.
investments.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I will say, Maddie, I'm so impressed. This is fantastic. Your presentation was very good, and thank you for coming up with such a wonderful idea. So let's, I think the right motion is probably to accept her presentation and make sure that we connect her with Berkeley and Environment, she's already connected with Beautification Board and Environmental Commission, and that they kind of work together to maybe come up with a plan of where these things can happen, and get that done.
I'll make that motion first.
Second.
All right, motion from Ms. Andrews and second from Mr. Almond. All in favor of accepting the presentation? Aye. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Maddie.
Let me forward you Berkeley's contact information.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You don't know that a couple of years ago, I don't have pictures. There was this thing on the inside of my front door. First of all, I have an employee. My yard is so wide, it's because I like bees and butterflies.
Oh, wow.
There was something on the inside of my door, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And
Yeah.
finally, I'm like, that is a cocoon.
Yeah.
Just
being here. That's a good one. How about that? Neat.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right. Counselor Andrews.
Here.
Oh, excuse me. Planning and Development Committee meeting for September 9th, 2024. Counselor Andrews.
Here.
Walton.
Here.
Wolferton.
Here.
Sims.
Here.
And Mims.
Wow, I got 5 folks. Okay, I will begin with getting the minutes from July 1st and approving and just.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I
Look
know,
at you.
okay, Waltney,
Second.
second from Sims, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed, that passes 5-0. Okay, I'm gonna hand this over, this is another one of those situations where I'm gonna have to recuse myself, so I'm gonna hand the agenda over to Counselor Waltney and let him take it from here. We have no old business, and so moving on to new business.
Thank you, Councilor Andrews. We have one item under new business, 290824, request for consideration to de-annex property at 2305 Montevallo Road, coming from President Wyatt and 2305 Montevallo Partners LLC.
So I'm gonna just say a little bit, and then I'm gonna hand it over to the people that are actually making the request. They've come and talked to me and a couple other people about this. For those of you that don't know, what we're talking about is on, I guess it's still Hollywood at that point, but as it's changed to Montevallo, I don't know where it changes from one to the other.
I think it's still Hollywood at that point.
But right next to the Express Oil Change is a church in Mountain Brook. This is that development. You may remember we have already dealt with this with regard to the alley-ish right away that goes right down there. There is one parcel, so what's being developed is a number of houses and some condos that are on the front of Hollywood. There is one parcel that is behind the Express Oil Change that is in Homewood, or at least it took a while to figure out that it was in Homewood. There are maps that show it both ways, but there's a 1926 survey that shows that it's in Homewood somehow, even though no one ever knew it was in Homewood.
And the street enters
From Mountain Brook.
Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
It's along the
No.
right of way, when they built
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's one street that'll go up that way, and then there's another street that comes from Mountain Brook Village.
yeah, by LAH.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this was from before 280 was there, if I had to guess. that-
Correct.
Okay.
that
That's the
Homewood
best guess.
Okay.
believes it, yeah.
So what they've requested is to de-annex this one parcel, for Homewood to de-annex this one parcel, because everything else is in Mountain Brook and it creates sort of a confusion of services, given the fact that everyone else in this little development is in Mountain Brook. And so it would make things a little bit easier on the residents and all of those sorts of things. So that's where the request comes from. That's the reasoning for the request. They're here to answer any questions that anybody has, but that's what's before
And
us.
basically, it's the dead end of that street that's already there with the townhouses, right?
No. There's nothing, the only thing there is the church, the parking lot, and this one empty lot of grass right there. And so, oh, I'm sorry, you mean the entrance? Yeah, there's that entrance, that's the other entrance, is that, it is currently a dead end in Mountain Brook, yes.
Very well.
Alright, are there any other questions or?
I do have a couple questions. I didn't know if they were gonna present, did y'all wanna present any additional information?
No, I mean,
Okay.
if you go back to that picture, it's truly just that grass area. And this represents a very small portion of the overall
Does that
development.
include the alley we already approved?
I'm sorry?
The de-annexation, does it include that right away?
No, the right of way would remain.
Why would we want the right of way when we have?
I mean, we could come back and vacate the right of way. That's not a terrible idea.
Well.
I mean, right now, Mike, you know, the way the right of way use agreement reads, there's no maintenance obligations on the city. The right of way has not been open in my lifetime.
Well, you're
So
gonna
I'm not
open it.
sure it's any different.
You're gonna open it.
Yes, that's right,
Well-
but at our dime, you
Yeah.
know, so I'm
I
not
just
sure.
don't know why the city would keep the right of way, it goes nowhere.
Yeah, maybe they'll come back and just vacate that. I'm not sure. I'm sure that's something to think about.
Sounds like it would clean it up.
I mean, just additional questions were just gonna be, well, one, this is kind of not directly related to this, but If it was unknown whose jurisdiction it was in, where were the property taxes
I was
historically
wondering.
going?
It was institutional.
Okay.
So no
So there
taxes.
weren't.
Right, I was just curious
That
about
was
that.
probably one reason it slipped through, is because, since it was institutional property.
And then,
Because it's part of the church part.
will this require a public hearing?
To vacate it, I mean, to de-annex it, I don't know.
Okay.
I'd say before the Voting Rights Act change, it would have to be approved by the Department of Justice, but I don't think that applies there.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that question.
So we could
Is
have
that
one
one
just
where
be
you would
safe.
research it and follow up and let us know, I guess?
Sure.
I did have one quick question. So in relation, I don't know that I've seen many de-annexations in the city of Homewood since I've been on the council. I think the.
That's why I don't have an answer.
Yeah, right. That's fair. Kind of going off of his point about the property taxes, that would be my only question was, is there any, are we required any kind of compensation for the loss of the property tax in the future, although it was institutional, so we didn't have any in the past?
I think that's up to you.
Okay.
That's certainly, we've never de-annexed any property.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was, it's not like we're selling the property, so we don't have to assess
Well,
it.
you're doing more than selling it.
Yeah.
Give it up.
That's right.
Any interest in the property.
Right.
Somebody will get taxes.
I don't
guess
think
you'll
there's
annex it
any-
into Mountain Brook, is that part of the plan?
Yeah, I mean, so I think you're right, that because it's institutional, it hasn't been generating
But
any
it's
tax.
going to, yeah.
But once the house is there, it's going to generate tax for whichever city it's in. Cause these houses are, how big? Approximately?
Didn't they tell us $1 million for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the house size varies from 1,800 square feet to 3,500 square feet, depending on the layout.
So there will be a house that's generating some sort of property tax income.
Sure.
That'll be it, but it will be generating.
So
That's
that-
for one city or the other.
Okay, so that's really the only net loss of the city would be, of the de-annexation would be future.
Correct.
Value of the taxes.
Correct. So if that's something the council, what I would say is, if that's something the council wants to pursue, that we probably let Mike talk with them about it and just see what, what if anything might be done, if that's what the council wants to do.
So I would definitely like to hear additional information around de-annexation in general from Mike's research, as well as
You're talking about process?
as well as vacating, I'd like a consideration of the vacation of the right of way at the same time, because it doesn't make sense to potentially de-annex this and to keep that right of way. And it seems like the two should be tied together, in my opinion.
And
It's all gonna be a part of the same development.
Yeah, and I don't think we'd have to have a new item just based on the wording of this. I think that's just if they want to make it a part of their request.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I don't think it requires us to start over or anything. If y'all want to de-annex the road or the right of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I defer to Mike, but I think those would be two totally, they could be parallel, but they're two totally different processes.
Well, vacating it, I'm curious of how you can say we vacate it. You don't own both sides of it. Part of it's owned by one side of the property is owned by the oil company, right?
For a portion of it,
Yes.
yeah.
Just so I'm clear, I've got the property tax map up for Jefferson County. Is it this strip that runs from the parcel up to Montevallo, Hollywood Boulevard?
It's only 10 feet.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
only 10 feet that runs right
Okay,
here, and then
gotcha.
this is the Homewood parcel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it represents, this is,
10 feet wide.
yes, the
Okay,
alley
gotcha.
is 10 feet wide because it was created,
Only for that power line.
Yeah, it's what we approved a
Okay.
couple of years ago, wasn't it? A year ago?
the right-of-way use agreement?
Yeah.
Yes, y'all approved a right-of-way use agreement to allow them to reopen the alley about the end of 2022, yeah, so, but it's only 10 feet.
Whatever it is, it really is.
Now, they're
no
adding 10
benefit to
feet of
the
their
city
own
to the
property to make it a 20-foot, right
Right.
of way.
Okay. So what's the will of the committee? Do we want to move forward with this item and get a report from Mike at council? So we can go to approve it?
If you want me to
move
talk to
forward?
them about value, I need to.
Do we wanna
just
carry it over in
over.
committee so you can discuss the value?
We could get all that straight by the next time you meet.
So approve it contingent upon,
Well,
no? I'm
Just
seeing
hold
shaking
carry
heads.
Carry it over, I think.
Okay.
I
For
have
now.
carry over. I mean,
Does that
just
affect any of
because,
your planning?
regardless if
Carry
it's
over
one item or
2 weeks?
concurrent,
And if there needs to be.
And we can discuss, y'all can include the right of way in that discussion as well?
yes.
Okay.
I mean, does anyone see the benefit for Homewood to keep it right away? It goes nowhere?
No.
Yeah, I think, if I understand what Mike's saying, and we really haven't, we never discussed this in our discussions, I don't think any of us really thought about it, but if the road is gonna be part of the development and the rest of the development is going to be in Mountain Brook, shouldn't the road probably be part of Mountain Brook as well? And I understand what you're saying, we've sort of given up rights to the road, but that could potentially change later and it's still our road, or still our right of way, if someone asks for it later, and it just seems cleaner that if the entire development is going to be part of Mountain Brook and that right of way is gonna be part of the development, to make that part of, and I don't think it's changing a whole
If we're
lot,
gonna
I
get out
guess.
of the land business over there, we just need to get out all of it.
Well, we still have express oil change. We don't get rid of that.
Right.
No, it doesn't involve.
They generate
I know,
tax.
make it- I know.
We'll take your taxes.
Yeah, we want that.
Okay, so it seems to me there's some additional discussion that need to occur so we can make sure we're 100% clear on what we're voting
Yes.
on. So y'all will get with Mr. Kendrick, I assume, okay, good, and we'll carry this item over for the time being. Okay, fantastic. So 290824 is carried over, and I'll turn it back over to your committee to you.
Thank
You
you
would
so much.
adjourn.
I appreciate it, thank you.
For all those
Without objection,
tabled items.
We are, yeah, I know, man,
Yeah.
listen, I will make a point, as we were meeting tonight, you guys have some stuff on your agendas that you guys can clear off the table, I just wanna point out. There's some items that.
Yeah, no, we will.
Yeah, let's do that, so, anyway, with that.
So you're gonna shoot first.
What's that?
I wanna hear it. July 1st. July 1st.
July 1st.